From the moment we as humans discovered the ability to communicate with one another, whether through pictures or words, we have always told stories. Stories of how we came to be, stories of our ancestors, and stories of what's to become. Archaeologists have discovered cave drawings and ancient scriptures throughout the world, and no matter where these primal stories came from, recurring patterns and symbolism always seem to appear. Odd, is it not, that we can come from all four corners of the world, never knowing one another, yet have similar meanings held to certain objects and figures? Carl Jung, a renowned psychologist, believed that these recurring patterns are results of our collective unconscious, and he named them archetypes. The term archetype has its origins in the ancient Greek. The root words are archane, which means original or old, and typos, which means pattern, model, or type. Combined, they form the meaning original pattern, and from these, all objects or concepts are derived, copied, or modeled. Jung used the concept of archetypes in his theory of the human psyche. He believed that our archetypes stem from our collective unconscious, in which universal mythic characters reside. Archetypes are a result of our fundamental human experience, which we created as we evolved as a species, and because of this, they evoke strong emotions set deep within our roots. Archetypes are virtually limitless, and there are many different kinds. However, there are three main categories: character archetypes, situation archetypes, and symbolic archetypes, each of which have their own subcategories. Stories often have numerous archetypes, whether intended by the author or not, and these allow us to develop a stronger connection to the characters or situations because of our unconscious familiarity with their stories. However, sometimes archetypes can cause the utter destruction of a story, which is what I will be focusing on today with Hamlet. I will be discussing the situation and character archetypes within the story, and how the usage of a majority of these structures are what leads to the ultimate demise of the characters. There are three main character archetypal categories as defined by Carl Jung, under which all others fall. These are the self, soul, and ego categories. Character archetypes are virtually endless, from covering good and evil, mothers and Mother Earth, the temptress and the damsel in distress, to the devil and the outcast. Every character likely falls within at least one of the many categories. On many occasions, Horatio and Marcellus are shown as Hamlet's archetypal versions of the loyal retainers. These individuals are like the noble sidekicks to the hero, and their duty is to protect him. Their attempts at doing so are shown many times throughout the play, such as when they try and stop him from contacting the ghost in Act 1, Scene 4.
Beckons you to go away with it, as if it's some impartment it desires you alone.
It waves you to a more removed ground, but do not go with it.
No, by no means.
You will not speak, why then I'll follow.
Do not, my lord.
Why? What's with the fear? I do not set my life at a pin's fee. And for my soul, what can it do to that, being a thing immortal as itself? It waves me forth again, I'll follow it.
What if it tempt you toward the flood, my lord? Or to the dreadful summit of the cliff, that beetles or his base into the sea, and there assume some other horrible form, which might deprive your sovereignty of reason and draw you into madness?
It waves me still. Go on, I'll follow thee!
Their loyalty to him does not falter in the following scene, even after he disobeys their advice.
That you, at such times seeing me, never shall with arms encumbered thus, or this head shake, or by pronouncing of some doubtful phrase as well, we know, or we could, and if we would, or such ambiguous giving out to note that you know aught of me. This not to do. So, grace and mercy at your most need. Help you swear!
Horatio is shown as a watered-down version of the typical mentor in this play. His wisdom and intelligence is evident, and his advice is set in logic. However, Hamlet fails to listen to him time and time again, which always results in problems.
You will lose this wager, my lord.
I do not think so. Since he went into France, I've been in continual practice. I shall win at the odds.
Gertrude's version of the unfaithful wife is one of the reasons Hamlet is driven mad by his father's murder. The unfaithful wife is often married to a man who she sees as incompetent for her desires, and is attracted to a man she finds more intriguing. Through Hamlet's eyes, his mother is an unfaithful wife to his father, as in his words,
But 2 months dead. Nay, not so much, not 2. So excellent a king that was to this, Hyperion to a satyr.
He believed she never once mourned for his father, and didn't hesitate to marry a man much less noble. So although technically she can't be unfaithful to a husband who is no longer alive, Hamlet construes it in such a way.
Like Niobe, all tears. Why, even she, oh God, a beast that once discourse of reason would have mourned longer, married with my uncle, my father's brother, but no more like my father, and I to Hercules within a month. Ere yet the salt of most unrighteous tears had left the flushing in her galled eyes, she married. Oh, most wicked speed to post with such dexterity to incestuous sheets.
Ophelia is a version of the damsel in distress, though, in all honesty, no one's really trying to save her. Sometimes, the damsel in distress is used as a trap by the evil figure to ensnare the hero. This happens in Act 3, Scene 1, when Claudius and Polonius try to prove their suspicions that Hamlet's madness stems from him being forbidden to see Ophelia. However, this trap backfires and Ophelia is left broken once again. She is a pawn in everyone's game and arguably never cared about.
I did love you once.
Indeed, my lord, you made me believe so.
You should not have believed me. I loved you not.
I was the more deceived.
Get thee to a nunnery. Why wouldst thou be a breeder of sinners? I am myself indifferent, honest, and yet I could accuse me of such things. It were better my mother had not borne me. What should such fellows as I do? Crawling between earth and heaven, we are arrant knaves, all. Believe none of us. Go thy way to a nunnery.
From the first time we meet Ophelia, in Act 1, Scene 3, we know of her affair with Hamlet, and that she is warned to stay away from him. Her brother Laertes believes that Hamlet's interest in her is a waning affection, and nothing permanent, especially as he is a prince and cannot invest time into a relationship.
For Hamlet, and the trifling of his favour, hold it a fashion and a toy in blood, a violet in the youth of primy nature, forward, not permanent, sweet, not lasting, the perfume and suppliance of a minute, no more.
No more, but sir.
Think it no more. Perhaps he loves you now, and now no soil nor caudle doth besmirch the virtue of his will, but you must fear. His greatness weighed, his will is not his own, for he himself is subject to his birth.
This is the beginning of what we see of them being star-crossed lovers. From Hamlet's descent into madness resulting in the murder of Ophelia's father to her loss of innocence, love never seems to be in the cards for either of them.
Many a tear. Farewell.
Hamlet's father, the king, has been murdered by his brother, though from the beginning of the play, the reader does not realize this. In Act 1, Scene 5, we watch as the newly fatherless Hamlet encounters the ghost of his father, from which he learns of the murder his uncle committed against his father. In line 25, his father clearly says,
If thou didst ever thy dear father love, revenge his foul and most unnatural murder.
To which Hamlet obliges. And so begins the archetype of the task, of which a hero must accomplish in order to fulfill the ultimate goal. Here, the task being to kill off his uncle Claudius for the ultimate goal of avenging his father's murder. Right from the moment he finishes his conversation with the ghost of his father, we see Hamlet's sanity falter in his interaction between his friends. However, what he at first claims to be an act slowly grows more and more, and his obsession with completing the task keeps him from thinking clearly. The archetype of the task is closely intertwined with the archetype of the unhealable wound in the story, defined as a physical or psychological wound which cannot be fully healed. Often the wound's pain drives the sufferer to desperate measures of madness. Because of the pain of losing his father, and in a way his mother to his uncle, Hamlet begins to believe the completion of the task may take away the pain of the unhealable wound, as the elimination of Claudius would end the root cause of the wrong committed against him. In the end, these all lead to the fall, but not only the fall of Hamlet. This archetype is a descent in action from a higher to a lower state of being, whether it be from defilement, moral imperfection, or loss of innocence. We see the fall of Hamlet from being a beloved prince to a blithering madman who will destroy anyone in his path to achieve his ultimate goal of killing Claudius.
What does thou mean by this?
Nothing. But to show you how a king may go a progress through the guts of a beggar.
The deteriorating state of Hamlet's sanity also leads to the fall of Ophelia. His accidental murder of her father and complete disregard for her feelings leads to her losing her sanity and innocence, resulting in her suicide.
I love Ophelia. 40,000 brothers could not, with all their quantity of love, make up my sum.
As Hamlet approaches its end, the readers or viewers are left with an obvious moral and a crucial lesson. Never allow yourself to be blinded by vengeance. Through the unhealable wound and the giving up the task, Hamlet begins his fall into insanity, losing everything he once held dear to himself. He causes not only the loss of relationships, but also the loss of lives of those he held most dear, because he does not stop to think. I want to leave you, my viewers, with a question. When you evaluate your life, what archetype are you? Be honest with yourself. Do you fall under the category of a hero, or are you a villain?
To be or not to be? That is the question.